Hello and welcome to the Four Pillars of Success for LMTs workshop. Today we are going to cover what are the four pillars of success. And with each pillar, I teach four lessons. So there'll be 16 lessons that I cover. And today in this workshop, I'm going to kind of breeze through these 16 lessons. I actually teach the 16 lessons in full, and it's about 8 hours of content in my LMT Success Blueprint program. But today's going to be a really great overview just to give you like a large picture of what I believe are the key foundations for being successful as a massage therapist, particularly in private practice. And you may have heard a lot of these concepts, but I feel like there are so many things that come together to create success. It isn't just one thing, it's many things, kind of like pieces of the pie, right? In order to have the ultimate career success and longevity that we want, we have to nurture all of these aspects of our career. And it's like, the pieces of the pie, right? So each piece is important because it creates the whole pie. And if you're missing several pieces, then you just won't be experiencing as much success. So again, I'm going to just cover these 16 lessons briefly. And if you are interested in a deeper dive, then I'll share more information about the LMT Success Blueprint at the end. Okay. So let's talk about what are the four pillars. The four pillars of success are mindset, technique, self care, and business. Okay. Mindset is what we're going to start with. And in my opinion, mindset is maybe a little more important than all of the pillars, even though they're all important, right? Pieces of the pie. But mindset, in my opinion, after working with massage therapists and myself as a massage therapist for 20 years now, to me, that's the biggest hurdle to climb is having a success mindset. And it's all really coming from inside of us and our belief systems about ourself, our work, how we're helping people through massage therapy, our ability to run a successful practice, to attract ideal clients. It all starts with your vision and your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs around your own success as a massage therapist. So, the first lesson I teach is to value yourself as a health practitioner. Value yourself. I know we've heard this, and maybe you've heard it to death, actually, but I feel like there's so many key points here as to why is this preached so much? Like, how are we devaluing ourselves, which would create this preaching of valuing yourself? I actually do believe it starts at school. We're not doctors, right? We don't go to school for 3 or 4 years and come out as doctors of massage therapy. So I feel like right away, even in society and the way it's the structure set up, we have this feeling like we're less than. And I think most of it is subconscious. And we only go to school for at the most 1,000 hours typically, unless you're in Canada. And in that case, it's more so. But in the United States, it's 1,000 hours, maybe 750, and even as low as 500, depending on your state. And so this gives us a certificate or a license, which is great. We have a licensed profession, which is wonderful, but we're not doctors, right? So I kind of feel like on the totem pole, if you will, amongst health practitioners, we have the tendency to put ourselves at the bottom of the totem pole, like below a doctor of chiropractic, below a doctor of acupuncture or oriental medicine or osteopathy. And so, amongst our holistic colleagues, there, like I said, is the tendency to devalue ourselves as like the bottom of the barrel. And it's just not true. It's just not true, period. I mean, and if you've been in practice, maybe you've already heard this from your clients how, in a lot of cases, soft tissue is really the issue and the solution. And what's better than massage therapy for 60 to 90 minutes on a table, addressing the soft tissue concerns, which, I've heard several clients say, I've tried everything else. I've been to every other practitioner and massage is the only thing that has helped me, right? We've heard it all. So it's just not true. We're not the bottom of the barrel, and just because we don't have doctor in front of our name doesn't mean we have to really act that way, but it's just very common, that we have this sort of going into this field altogether is like with an insecurity or something. So that's where we have to reflect on what is actually happening in our practice. How are we actually helping people? And even just being in practice, like all the things we have to do to maintain our license, our CEs, our supplies, our expenses, and just valuing your work, even especially with your pricing, which we'll cover in a little bit, so that you're a respectable small business owner as well. So it's like valuing yourself as a health practitioner and this recognizing what you are bringing to the table in your community is just or more as valuable as your holistic colleagues. And then also as a small business owner, being proud that you even took the risk to work for yourself and be self-employed, and that is no small feat. It usually takes 1 to 3 years to establish yourself. Plenty of small businesses close within that period of time. And so, you should feel like bold and courageous and proud of what you're trying to do in this world and as a small business owner, as a practice owner, right? And so you want to show up with a sense of, I'm offering all of this value and I need this to be reflected through client behavior, through my income. So mindset is something that we're constantly looking at and analyzing so that we can show up with that really powerful confidence in practice. And part of that, when you do that, is being the leader. So this is the second lesson, is being the leader in your practice. When you work for somebody else, they're the leader, whoever the owner is, right? They're leading the practice. They're in charge of making all the decisions, and you are there to fulfill a role as the massage therapist, and your job is to provide exceptional service, etc. When you're working for yourself, you're the leader now, and you need to really grow into that role. Um, and do all the things and be all the things that a business owner needs to be. You need to be the influencer of your clients, of your community. You're big mama. It's like really, if you are a mother, then you already know, like as soon as you have children, they're not going to raise themselves. They're not going to discipline themselves. They're not going to be influenced on their own. You're the parent of the child. Your practice, your business is the same thing. You have to be in the mother or father role, if you will, and pour all of your love and care and nurturing into this practice, just like you would as a parent with your child. So you need to be the leader and you need to take charge. And the reason why is because your clients will respect you more for that as a practitioner and a business owner. So there's various ways that you can express that, but I feel like generally when massage therapists work for somebody for a period of time, or even if you've been employed your whole life, now you're trying out self-employment, it's a big shift, You're not following anymore, you're leading. And so you really have to grow into that role. Remember your why. So massage therapy is a very very particular field. We're working with people, we're working with people's bodies, we're working with people who are in pain, we're working with people who are stressed out. It's not for the faint of heart. You're going to have ups and downs, you're going to have highs and lows. It's going to be so rewarding and meaningful and wonderful. And you're going to have rough days that are just like, oh my gosh, what am I thinking doing this? Right? So you have to come back to a strong sense of why. Now, a lot of massage therapists, not all, I like to think that massage therapists get into this field for the right reasons and have aptitude for the field. maybe you were inspired by a massage that you received and it helped you, I don't know, want to help others in the same way that you were helped. Usually, we all have a story of how we even got into this field. In my experience, if a massage therapist gets their license just because it's something to do, or they didn't know what else they were going to do in their life, or it's just a job to them, that's not a really strong why. It's not going to really take you through the hard times of being in practice. And it's definitely not going to lead to success unless in the process of being a massage therapist, you develop this strong why. So anyway, there's a soul level to this. There's a spiritual aspect to this that will be the driving force and the passion that will allow you to commit in a bigger way than if this was just like something to do. I actually really don't think any of the massage therapists that got into the field for the wrong reasons or don't have a strong why. I just don't think they're going to make it. The whole field is shrinking down right now, um, for various reasons. Let me just get into that for 2 seconds. Little side tangent. The massage field blew up. Like it really had this explosion with the franchises and all of the massage schools. Even in my time of the last 20 years, I watched this happen. The massage field was not that big before. And then all of a sudden there was this explosion. And of course, the economy was great. And so there was this like explosion of schools and franchises and, people going to school. And you can do that in a good economy. And people can it can just be a job. That's fine. But as things shrink down, certainly they did after 2020, a lot of schools closed during 2020. A lot of spas closed, private practices closed. The whole thing is shrinking down now. And in my opinion, whoever's going to last in the field, it has to have a strong why. That's all I'm trying to say. There has to be a real passion and a spiritual drive to make it. Okay. Next thing about mindset is always improve. Just because you got your license, just because you took a couple CE classes, doesn't mean that's where you land. A really great practitioner, emphasis on the word great, which is better than good, which is above average, and really heading towards mastery. You have to have the mindset of every time I go into session, I'm going to try to improve. You want to always one up yourself every year. You want to constantly be growing. There's no point that you should feel like that's it. I don't have anything else to learn. Like I'm perfect in every way, and my sessions they're just that's it. That's how they are. We've seen this. I don't know if you've seen this, but I've seen practitioners just get like stuck and stagnant, and they just go through the motions, and they're not learning and they're not growing. And you can actually sadly stay that way for a long time. That's where you will see therapists in the field with like 20, 25, 30 years under their belt and they're still struggling. Somewhere along the way, they really stopped challenging themselves. So, in my opinion, I always want to be a better practitioner, like forever, even though I've been doing this 20 years. And you think that I would have already have a sense of confidence, which I do, but there's no end to this. It's infinite, is all I'm saying. So, those are the mindset principles, and I really feel like if you go down the rabbit hole in some of these, it will help you like kind of keep the ship heading in the right direction, and you won't veer off course. Okay, mindset: valuing yourself, be the leader, remember your why, and always improve. Okay, let's talk about business next. Okay, so because you decided to start your practice now, that means you're a business owner. Yay. And just like I mentioned before, all these things that you didn't have to do before as an employed massage therapist, now you have a lot of hats to wear. In my opinion, you don't have to have an MBA from Harvard or anything like that. Okay, we're just talking about the basics here. Really, just a solid structure. So, the structure to me, in a nutshell, are like obviously your license, obviously insurance, If you need to have a business license for your commercial space, all of these things are like part of your structure. Your name, your logo, your website, your Google business listing, social media accounts, email marketing. Okay, these are all like your basic building blocks of your structure. And this is how you're going to do business within this structure. There's still therapists out there that don't have online booking, don't have a website, don't have social media accounts, don't send emails, don't have a brand. And you can operate that way. Plenty of therapists have since the beginning of time. Can just operate word of mouth, that's fine. And if that's what you want to do, great. But to me, if you're going to be, this is especially if you're in town and you have a commercial space, and if this is especially if you're trying to be a full-time massage therapist, this is not like a side thing. It's not a hobby. Like you actually need to have a full-time income from this. You need to have a proper and respectful structure. When you have a structure like this in place, it's easy for clients to get to know your work because they can go online and they can see what you do, where you're located. They can book online. They can stay in touch with you through your emails. It just makes it easier. It's like a well-oiled machine. Okay. Going back and forth without online booking, like I said, you can do this. It's a waste of time. So if you want a well-oiled machine that's minimal, it's a lot of effort to set up. After it's set up, it's supposed to save you energy and save you time. Okay. So you're creating the structure to do a lot of the work for you. Now let's talk about marketing and sales. Everybody loves to talk about marketing, not. I talk to so many massage therapists that really feel like marketing is like their biggest hang up. And I get it. Marketing, let's talk about this. There's several things I want to talk about. Marketing feels so heavy because especially if you're shy or you're introverted, you have to like put yourself out there in a way and be vulnerable, right? I have to put myself out there with risk of being rejected. That's the biggest fear around marketing. Is like I might put myself out there. I might go to a networking meeting. I might make a social media post. And what if nobody likes me or what if nobody books? Like the feelings of rejection or the feelings of failure are so like scary to people that they just quit or they stop or they don't do it. And that's not the right mindset behind marketing. Um, I actually think it's a mindset issue when it comes to marketing. You have to feel like here's the mindset for marketing. You have to feel like I'm just trying to create awareness that I exist, that my practice exists, and that these are the services that I offer to help people with these problems, right? I'm the solution to these problems. And generally speaking, if you're stressed out, I'm your girl. If you're in pain, I'm your girl. You're not going to say it like that, okay? But you know what I'm trying to say. That's the feeling behind it. So you should actually be proud. Really, you should have a sense of excitement and enthusiasm to spread awareness that you are in practice, you're available, you have time and energy to help people. There's people out there that need your help. And so it's all fishing lines, whatever they are. Think of marketing as fishing lines. Your Google business listing, that's a fishing line. Your website is a fishing line. Social media is a fishing line. Your clients telling other clients, that's a fishing line. This is how you're going to catch fish. Okay. You got to put multiple fishing lines in the water. And the more fishing lines you have in the water, the more potential you can catch fish. I'm not trying to tell anyone to be a marketing guru or spend their entire life marketing. Have 3 or 4 things that you're actually gonna be consistent with, that you're actually gonna pour energy into, because that's the other thing. You have to actually set intention and put energy into these. When I make a social post, I'm intentional and I'm putting energy into that post. I expect to have some kind of engagement or awareness when I make a social post, or when I shake somebody's hand in public and tell them I'm a massage therapist, and hand them my card or ask to follow each other on Instagram. Like there's intention and there's energy behind it. There's focus. So you can't like just haphazardly do things that are sort of surface level. You want, just like with massage, honestly, just like you are putting intention and energy into every massage stroke, and you're focused and you're present during your sessions, you want to have that same type of focus and intention and energy with your marketing so that you catch fish, right? And you have to do this until you're established, right? In the beginning years, especially your 1 to 3 years to establish yourself, needs to be very consistent marketing efforts. After 3 years and you're totally full at this point, you don't have to always keep doing marketing because at that point you've built a list and you can just market to your own list. Great. Just send out emails to stay in touch with your people. You've got a list of 500, you're good. Just keep that 500 coming back and engaged. But meanwhile, you got to build your list. So that's where marketing comes into play. Sales Sales is just offering like the invite, I invite you to come in. I invite you to rebook. I invite you to purchase a membership or a package. I invite you to take advantage of my Black Friday special or whatever. You're inviting them to purchase. You're, yeah, it should feel like a gift. Like I'm offering this as a gift to you even though they're paying. It's like I'm offering you my energy. And by the way, our time and energy is extremely valuable, especially your energy. Where else can people go in their life and have somebody A, care about their health, B, touch them for 60 to 90 minutes in a nurturing therapeutic way, and give them that result of relief and peace, that feeling of when you're finally letting go and you're going into parasympathetic mode. It's not easy for people to get to that place on their own, which is why massage therapy is so popular and valuable. Anyways, I'm kind of going to have a lot of side tangents here. So the sales part is, you should never have the feeling of like, please, I need your money. I need you to buy this. You're like offering your valuable time and energy and this incredible experience working with you on your table and your practice. And so it's like I'm inviting you to take advantage of this opportunity. This is an opportunity for clients to work with you, buy this package, purchase this membership, rebook your next session. Like my time on my calendar is like, it's going fast. You better get your spot, and you can use some psychological things and, like the feeling of scarcity, like, oh, my calendar's filling up really fast. If I would suggest that you hold your spot right now before it fills up, right? So you can use some of those things with sales and if that feels good to you. But you have to ask for the sale. Like if you don't make sales, you don't have a business and you can't afford anything. You can't afford to stay in business, you can't finance your life. So every small business has to make sales, whether you're a restaurant selling food, or you're a clothing boutique selling clothes, or you're a massage therapy practice selling massage sessions. Like you're in sales. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm sorry if you don't like that word, but this is part of doing business. You have to create awareness with marketing and you have to make sales by people buying sessions from you. Okay. Whatever mindset blocks you have around these things, you have to get over it. Otherwise, go work for somebody else where you don't have to worry about these things. Okay. This is tough love. I'm just going to say it how it is. All right. All right, moving on to rates and income goals. Here's another thing that's sort of weirdly haphazard. Like, how do we set our rates? Think about how you set your rates. And when I ask massage therapists, like, what was the process of how you set your rates? Usually, it's, well, I just looked around town to see what the average rate was. I don't know if that's a great idea. Or, well, this is what I would be willing to pay for a session. I don't think that's a good idea. Or, my CE instructor told me this is what I should charge. Anyways, it's real curious to go back to the origin of why you decided to set your rates the way you did, But we need to think about these things every year. You need to calculate what the cost of doing business really is, what your time really is, what where's the value here between your expenses, your time, and your lifestyle, I kind of also feel like there's this pecking order. You've heard of this, right? Where like people in a group will naturally put themselves in a hierarchy, like chickens do this and animals do this. Like someone's the alpha, the leader of the pack, and then there's like this hierarchy of like next in line, next in line. Like wolves do this. So people do this, and I feel like massage therapists do this in their town or their city. It's like someone decides that they're the best and they charge the most. They just decided to do that, and then everybody else kinda decides where they are in their own valuing of themselves, and they kind of, either charge middle average rates or low rates. It's interesting to think about this. There's not enough thought that goes into rates. In my opinion, if you're in private practice, you need to be at least average, in my opinion, above average. Let the franchises be the lowest prices in your town. Don't try to compete with them. Let them be the lowest prices. Um, it's a special thing to work with a private practitioner. You're not going to a place and just get some random therapist. Right? The therapists that work in these places, if you've already worked there, they're not getting paid the highest amount. Um, so you get what you get. This is just how it goes. And it's true. The more you pay, the more value you should be receiving. The value of a single therapist that you work with regularly as a client. I want to go to a massage therapist that knows my body, that cares, that has a lot of passion, that invests in their education, that considers themselves one of the best in town. I'm going to pay a higher price for that because I don't want some haphazard therapist that's like half-assing it, right? I want the whole ass if I'm going to pay a high price. I want someone who holds themselves to a high standard of excellence that's going to go above and beyond to get me the results that I want and that will really connect with me and care, high level of care. So I just encourage everyone to have higher rates just in general. And to me, it should be at least the bottom of the barrel should be 100 an hour. It's my opinion, 100 an hour. I don't care if you live in a rural town in the middle of nowhere. Okay? It's 2024. You know how much groceries cost, okay? So, yeah. And as you stay in practice, you want to think about going up every year, even if it's small increments. Income goals. So this is where you're going to look at your lifestyle, you're going to look at your expenses, you're going to look at, do you want to save for retirement? Do you want to save for vacation? And you need to have a monthly income goal that leads to an annual income goal. So work backwards. Like say your income goal is 8,000 for the month. Well, generally that's 2,000 a week ish. And so then how many sessions would you need to do to reach 2,000 a week? And this is what's going to help you raise your rates because if your rates are really low, you're going to have to do more sessions to reach those income goals. If your rates are higher, you don't have to do as many sessions to reach those income goals. So you want to be best friends with your calculator. Like really, you got to crunch numbers and work backwards from the goal. This is my monthly goal. How many sessions is that per month, per week, per day? Structure your hours. Like what's reasonable for you? What's sustainable in terms of your schedule? How many sessions a day can you still feel good at the end of the day and not like you want to quit and your hands are going to fall off? um, you know, so have income goals because if you don't have income goal, it's just too chaotic and haphazard. You're not being clear about your intentions. It's the same thing with your session. Like I intend and expect that every client that gets off my table is going to feel better. That's my intention. My intention for my income goal is this specific number, $8,000 a month. So just be intentional because you're more likely to reach these higher standards and these goals with an intention. Because otherwise, if you don't have that goal, you're going to default to whatever your baseline is. And your baseline or your default is like, if you don't strive to change or grow in any way, you've got this baseline number. Maybe your baseline is 3,000 a month. Maybe you've been earning 3,000 a month for the last 5 years. That's your default baseline. But if you push yourself to grow, if you actually set goals, then you're going to be higher than your baseline. Our goal is to move our baseline up to 5,000, up to 6,000, up to 8,000. You want to kind of push it so that you're not just doing the least and making, your default. When your default is 8,000, great. And if you really don't care to go to 10, 12, 14, 16,000, that's fine. Okay. But if you're trying to get from 3,000 to 8,000, you're going to have to set these goals. You're going to have to work towards these goals. You're going to have to do all of the stuff I'm talking about. Okay. So, the last part of business is multiple streams. And this is just something that I wish that I had started earlier in my career. I mean, I did have multiple streams, to be honest, but I got more serious about it later in my career. So, this is where massage therapy is one source of revenue. Clients come in, they pay for a massage. That's my income stream as massage therapy sessions. But what if you sell other things like maybe you're an herbalist, or maybe you sell products, or maybe you're involved in some kind of movement therapy and you teach yoga, or maybe you put together retreats and events or whatever. Like there's so many complementary ways that you can earn that would be additional streams to massage therapy, and it takes the pressure off of having to do so many massage sessions. But just to not be pie in the sky about this, a stream of income is just like starting a whole other business, especially if you want that stream to be 1,000 a month, 2,000 a month, 5,000, and so on. Just like an actual income. It's just like starting a business, and you have to treat every stream like an actual business and pour energy and time into it, just like you do with your massage practice, you know. But in my opinion, like, man, it does take the pressure off. And especially when there's situations like 2020 where we're locked down, you could have other ways that you're earning online, maybe, or that don't involve you being in the treatment room touching people. And this is, I would say, maybe more important as you get older in your years and are maybe wanting to do less hours. When we first start, we're like, full time, let's go. And then as you get older, you're like, maybe I want to do part time hours and have something else that I do part time. So it's good to kind of think about these things ahead of time and maybe start planning and organizing how you would have multiple streams in addition to massage therapy. And that could include teaching. I mean, there's all kinds of ideas. Okay, so business was create your structure, marketing and sales, rates and income goals, and multiple streams. Self care. Okay, self care. Usually, when massage therapists think about self care, it's like, oh, yeah, I need to get massage. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I actually think self care is so underrated in the massage field, and I wish that as a whole, when I look at like a room of massage therapists, like 500 massage therapists in a room, I wish they looked healthier. I guess I feel that way about America in general. But personally, for me, I was not healthy at a young age. I did not grow up with healthy practices. So by the time I was 19, I was not healthy and struggling with various concerns, digestive. I mean, I had so many problems. So I actually learned early in life that health is kind of important. And when you don't have a healthy lifestyle, like you're not going to get very far. Like being in pain, not having energy, you're not going to be able to do much. You're not going to enjoy your life, and you can't get much done, and you won't be successful if you're struggling with your health. Not to mention, this is a health and wellness field. So you want to be the example. There's a saying, you can only take people as far as you've gone yourself. So, something that's not really talked about enough is like whatever level of health that you're experiencing, that's the level of health that you can inspire somebody else to achieve. So, even if we're just talking about one aspect of health, like relaxation, like how relaxed is your nervous system? Your nervous system is affecting your client's nervous system. We don't think about these things. We don't talk about these things. Some of this is taboo to talk about. Okay, but I'm here to talk about success. You don't have to do this, but I'm just saying if you want to be ultra successful in the top 20% of this field, I think you need to do these things and think about these things. Okay? It's my opinion. Body work and movement. So, yes, you need to be on the table. You need to receive. You need to feel how important this is. And I would ask you to find the best practitioners in your area and either trade with them or pay them. You want to experience high level work. I've always been inspired by practitioners who were better than me. I wanted to go to a practitioner and be on their table if I felt like they were the best, better than me, because I wanted to know what high level work was like, and I wanted to have that transformation and experience in my own body so that I could experience it so that I can then give that to somebody. So you have to receive, just even as a trade, as a profession, but also obviously it's going to help you recover from doing all these sessions. Like, you have to recover also. Movement. I know that we're like not sitting in an office chair all day as massage therapists, so technically you're not like sedentary like most people sitting in chairs. And so, but massage therapy, it doesn't count as exercise. I'm sorry. Like, I know we're using our body and it's manual labor, but you actually need to exercise. And I actually think we need to have a lot of like um, movement, like walking, hiking, um, strength training. You want to feel like your body is in peak physical condition as close as you can get it so that you have a lot of energy to give and you're not going to be prone to injuries. When you're weak, when you're low energy, you're going to be prone to injuries, especially if you're pushing it on clients, especially when you have those deep tissue clients and they're like, can you give me a little more pressure? And I know we all like try to over give and please, and we'll end up hurting ourselves just to please a client. But if you're strong and resilient, you'll be able to do better work and not be prone to like tendonitis, sprains. Um, I mean, yeah, because shoulders, elbows, and wrists are all prone to tendonitis and sprains and strains in the massage field. So, movement is just good for mood. I mean, it's just I'm teaching a healthy lifestyle. You need to be on the table, you need to exercise. Okay, but with that said, I don't think anyone needs to be running marathons because that's kind of exhausting unless you're a natural athlete. Just basic exercise, okay? Okay, nourish and hydrate. This is like your diet and your hydration. Balancing blood sugar so you don't have spikes and crashes. Having actual fuel that gives you energy for the day, because especially if you're in the treatment room for long days, you can't be crashed out because you forgot to eat or you ate some crappy food and now your blood sugar crashed and you want to take a nap instead. Okay, this is not the key to success. Hydration. Drink water with electrolytes. That's it. Like I can't tell you how many therapists I've had to try to convince to stop drinking soda and these energy drinks. Like, this is not the type of energy that you want to bring to your work and to your clients. You need to have a clean, stable energy, not spikes and crashes. So I go into that even more in the blueprint. Sleep and rest. Sleep and rest is about recovery. We are doing a lot of energy output with clients. You know that after a long day, you know that after a long week, you know that after a long month, you need to get 8 to 9 hours of sleep. You need to be in bed way before midnight, in my opinion. And you need to feel well rested and ready for another long, great day in your practice every morning. So, like, get your butt to bed. Stop scrolling, stop watching Netflix, and sleep. Okay, rest. I actually love, if I have a break in the middle of the day, to take power naps. I was big about power naps. You have a massage table to lay on, it's a relaxing environment. So if you've got even 15 minutes, little break in the middle of the day, like close your eyes and meditate or take a power nap, set your alarm, try to squeeze in rest wherever you can, especially if you're feeling exhausted and tired and drained. You can't afford to get sick. We only get sick when we're completely run down and we've been overdoing it and we haven't been taking care of ourselves. So, I can count on my hand the amount of times that I've actually had to cancel sessions because I've gotten sick. I don't want to get sick. As soon as you start feeling that rundown feeling and that tiny little tickle in your throat, you've got to cancel everything and go to sleep so that you don't get sick, so that you don't have to cancel a whole week of sessions. This is the painful truth, you know? Clear and detox. Uh, Man, this is another one. I do go into this in more depth, but energy clearing is really undervalued as well. We're touching people, we are in in their field, they're in our field, we're entangled with them energetically, and you feel like you've got people on you by the end of the day. You have to clear yourself from people. You have to, whatever it is, go outside and put your bare feet on the ground, take a hot salt bath, like Epsom salt bath, or a shower, at least bathe at the end of the day. The worst thing you can do at the end of the day is plop on the couch and watch TV and glaze over. Have some kind of clearing ritual first before you do that. You have to disconnect. You have to keep your energies clear. Because I actually do think that's one reason why massage therapists feel like crap is I think this is just an accumulation of energies, and you're taking on people's stress and pain, especially if you're empathic and sensitive. I do think that I was more aware of this later in my career. I was not aware of this early in my career. It kind of over time led me to realize why I wasn't feeling well or why I felt so burned out or drained. Also, detoxing. This is just like every human on the planet Earth right now. Like, you can't breathe, eat, or drink in this world right now without having accumulation of heavy metals and poisons and glyphosate and EMF radiation, and it's just unfortunate, but our bodies can only handle so much, and it's true that our bodies will naturally detox, but it's not true that our body will naturally detox large amounts of toxicity, you know? Anyways, that's a whole other topic to really deep dive on, but I personally think after 2021 and just what we are experiencing on the planet Earth with what they're spraying in the skies and putting in our food. These are other reasons why we get sick. And again, you can't really afford to be sick. So, self care is all about staying healthy, number one. Number two, having energy to give clients and showing up with your best. Success is only created with doing your best work. And each session, you have to show up with your best work. How is a client going to commit to more sessions with you if you're not giving your best work? It's harder for them, right? Now, I do think even on your rough days where you're dragging into session, you should still aspire to be above average. I used to say, even on my worst days, I still do above average work. Push yourself to just be great, even if you're dragging in there on a tough day. Because it's just going to one successful session leads to more successful sessions. So, self-care, body work and movement, nourish and hydrate, sleep and rest, clear and detox. Okay, technique is obviously what we start with. That's what you even start in school, is like learning massage techniques and learning modalities. And of course, this is a trade, so you have to master your techniques, you have to master your craft. This is a trade business, a trade. um, and Mastering your craft, like I said earlier, in mindset, some of these are overlapping, is about always improving. learning from the best, receiving from the best so that you can have good role models. We should have good role models. I had amazing role models early in my career. They were like the cream of the crop, like best practitioners, and it really set the standard high for me of what is possible in the world of massage and body work. It will really blow, it should blow your mind. It should be life changing. When you learn from the best and you receive from the best and then you aspire to be the best, that's mastering your craft. Adding value. This is something I kind of learned from being a full time massage therapist, that in addition to my heart and soul and my amazing massage techniques, what else can I add to the session? And so this is where I kind of started getting into this idea of constantly adding value. And I call these bells and whistles, or just little things. It could be little things. How do you add value to your client experience? Anything that, every little detail, like it's in the details, right? 5-star resorts obsess over the details. 5-star restaurants want like every little thing perfect. That's where you want to think about, like, how can I make this whole experience more valuable? Whether it's like a more comfortable headrest, right? Upgrade to the best and most comfortable headrest, or maybe you're gonna add CBD salve as a great topical. you know, there's tons of bells and whistles and ways that you can add value to your sessions. Um, for me, I kind of started off with the infrared biomat, and that's like an amazing addition to a session. And that's where it kind of opened my eyes to, oh, I'm bringing my amazing massage therapy to the table and my heart and soul. But the biomat is also really adding a lot of value to the session. And then I would add tools like cupping. And I'm like, oh, okay. I don't have to do skin rolling anymore. I can do cupping now, save my hands a little bit. So this is kind of where I became obsessed almost every year. How can I add more value? And as I would add value, I would raise my rates, and my sessions got better. And this leads me to tools and technology. I went the tools and technology route. You don't have to, but that's kind of one way that I added bells and whistles. And so, like the biomat, like frequency tools. Now I'm bringing in terahertz ones and frequency patches and sound healing music. And this is kind of like where I nerd out. Everyone has their areas in this field where they nerd out, so whatever you resonate with most, or whatever you're passionate about, like go all the way down that rabbit hole and nerd out and bring in all the things and do it, because it's going to add value. And yeah, tools and technology I added also to save my hands. So I feel so annoyed that that's the constant message that we're preaching to massage therapists is avoid burnout, save your hands, get better client results, make more money. We're all preaching that, we being all massage business coaches and any CE instructor, basically. And it's a little annoying for me to see all of us preaching that constantly, but those are the problems, honestly. Like massage therapists do burn out. We do like abuse our hands. We are tend to have the tendency to be struggling financially. So like it's kind of sad that that's the message that's preached because it's so common. That's why. So, for me, saving my hands part, I mean, part of it was my self care, just recovering, but also relying on tools and technology to do some of the work. So, when I was doing full time massage and I started to burn out, I said, I really need to rely on some other things here besides my energy and my hands. And so it saved me, honestly. The tools, I used fascia blasters or scraping tools, especially on my large, big men. Just use all the tools on the big dudes. And then the frequency stuff, the frequency is a trend now, and I think it's cool. And I jumped on the bandwagon like 5 years ago about that. Kind of like cupping was a trend, kind of like CBD, salve, and all that was a trend. So, anyways, tools and technology, I think it helps to add value and save your hands. And then with technique, some of this is just philosophy, but listening and caring. This is underrated. And the best massage therapists in this whole field are great listeners and they have a very high level of care. I actually think even if you just had this, and I have known some massage therapists that did not have good hands, they just didn't have the touch, right? But they were really beautiful people. They were good-hearted souls, and you could make friends with them easily. And people like being in their presence because they listen and they care. And so you can have practices where like people just like you because they feel like they can be vulnerable around you because they feel like you have their best interest in mind and that you want them to be well. Even just your intention, like that really speaks volumes. You can have mediocre work and still be one of those people. Like I said, when I first started, I was so awkward and shy, and I didn't know how to communicate well. So I was very kind of aloof and standoffish emotionally, but I had great hands. I've always had good hands. I at least had that. But it was funny because my friend Terrell didn't have good hands, but she was just a really cool person and everyone loved her and everyone liked to talk to her. And we both filled our practices because I had good hands and she listened and cared. And so over the years, I tried to adopt some of what she had, and I kind of got out of my shell a little more, was a little more expressive. I got better at communicating. I got better at connecting emotionally with clients. And to me, caring is about a spiritual practice of let me get out of my own head, let me get out of my own personal drama and just focus on helping this client right now. So when you go into session, I'm just here to service, be of service to this person. And it becomes like a spiritual practice. I really feel like massage therapy has made me a better person all these years because I don't know. I grew up in America. I was an only child for a little while. I pretty much was spoiled and entitled and had sort of the princess thing going when I started. And this has been very humbling, and grounding and meaningful on a spiritual level to not make it about me and make it about somebody else. So that to me is where listening and caring is to me this is the heart and soul of the healing arts, period. I feel like a lot of the healing arts, this is another side tangent, just, you're taking my workshop, I could go on tangents. The healing arts has become commodified, right? Yoga, Chinese medicine, massage therapy, all of these things were very spiritually based when they originated on the planet Earth. And because of the way people have marketed it and promoted it in schools, a lot of the heart and soul has been stripped away. A lot of the spirituality has been stripped away, even of chiropractic, you know? So it's okay if you want to have more of a medical focus, if you tend to be a little more left brain, black and white, logic and reason and science, that's fine. But at the end of the day, people want to feel like you care about them and they want to feel like you have their best interest in mind and you got their back, literally. That's what's going to build a regular clientele. So, technique is about mastering your craft, adding value, tools and technology, and listening and caring. And those are the four pillars of success, you guys. I'm going to open it up for Q&A now. Yay.